In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn your favorite Game Boy game into a 3D printed pixel puzzle, because these 160 by 144 pixels kept me company for countless hours throughout my childhood and teenage years. Today, 3D printing is my passion, and unfortunately, I barely have any time to dive into pixel worlds beyond YouTube anymore. Life has just gotten so much more hectic between work, YouTube and family. But what if I could turn this memory into something physical with my 3D printer? Something I can actually hold in my hands that also brings me peace and relaxation. In this video, I am introducing you to my project Thrixelprint, taking you along on my journey from the initial idea to the finished puzzle and showing you along the way how you can easily turn your favorite Game Boy scene into a 3D printed pixel puzzle. It all started with a pretty simple idea. What if a single screenshot from a classic Game Boy game didn't just stay on the screen, but each individual pixel became a real 3D printed puzzle piece? Classic Game Boy games are perfect for this kind of project for two reasons. The Game Boy works with exactly 160 by 144 pixels. This means you can represent the entire screen or parts of it with a relatively manageable number of puzzle pieces. And there's another limitation of the Game Boy that's really helpful for this project, because it could only display 4 shades of gray, which means 4 different filaments are enough to print a Game Boy scene. So my goal was clear. I'm going to print myself a pixel puzzle of the iconic opening scene from the 1989 gaming classic Super Mario Land, where every pixel from the game is actually a pixel in the puzzle. What might sound simple turned out to be way more complicated than I thought. But let's take it step by step. My first attempt started with the Bambu Pixel Puzzle Maker, a tool that does exactly what I need for my project. You can upload images and turn them into 3D printable puzzles with just a few clicks. For many designs this works surprisingly well, but for my project I couldn't get a good result. Because while you can scale and move the Game Boy screenshot around, there's no way to map the pixels from the image one-to-one to the pixels in the puzzle. And this makes the result look a bit blurry, especially with the pixelated graphics like Game Boy screenshots, because the tool generates color gradients when a pixel in the screenshot doesn't align exactly with the puzzle grid. I just couldn't get past this point, and even searching online, I couldn't find another program that would create these pixel puzzles from graphics. So was the project dead before it even started? And then I had the breakthrough idea. I will just make my own tool. And for that I needed two things. A 3D printable design of a base plate and puzzle pieces, like these, plus the software that scales everything to match the screenshot and tells me how many pixels I need to print in which color. Since I wanted to focus on the software part, I did some more research and eventually found the Thrixel System by Timmix RetroPlays on printables. It's basically the same idea as Bambu Pixel Puzzle Maker, a plug-in system with a base plate and individual pixels called Thrixels. The difference though is that the designer made the 3D data for the individual pixels and the individual base plate segments freely available. And with that I had found a perfect foundation to program my own pixel puzzle maker. Because what the Thrixel System by Timmix RetroPlays is missing is just an easy-to-use software that automatically generates pixel puzzles from images in any size you want. So I got to work, and after a few hours of programming and countless cups of coffee, it was ready. Thrixelprint was born and my Super Mario pixel puzzle was within reach again. Because Thrixelprint works super easily. You go to thrixelprint.com and first select your printer model. Since I want to capture as much of the scene as possible, I'm choosing the biggest printer I have, the Prusa XL. That way I won't quite reach the full resolution of the Game Boy, but according to Thrixelprint, I can at least display 83 by 83 pixels. In the second step, I then uploaded my Game Boy screenshot and created the puzzle. If you are wondering at this point where I actually got the screenshot from, I don't want to go into detail too much here. Best to ask ChatGPT how to do something like that, if you know what I mean. Because now comes the crucial step. Besides the normal mode that compresses your uploaded image to the size of the puzzle, like Bambu tool, I also built in what's called Pixel Perfect mode. And this converts every single pixel of my image one-to-one into a Thrixel in the puzzle. You can then adjust the crop according to the chosen puzzle size and see on the right side directly how your pixel puzzle will look. At the same time, Thrixelprint shows you the corresponding color tones of the image below the preview. And by the way, I integrated an interface to filamentcolors.xyz, so for each color in the image, 3 matching filaments are suggested right away. For my project, I went with Panchroma filament from Polymaker, 1 filament from Azure Film, and a gray tone from Bambu Lab. I will link the colors I used in the video description. And now comes one final click and Thrixelprint generates a zip file, which beside the print data also creates a PDF that guides you step by step through the assembly process. This makes it really easy to build even large puzzles. Thrixelprint is free for now, and you can use it to easily create your own 3D printed puzzle too. Riding the wave of success, I felt like I was already on a home stretch for my project. But I had no idea that the hardest part was still ahead of me. Because when I dragged the baseplate into Prusa Slicer to slice the project for my Prusa XL, nothing happened first, and then Prusa Slicer simply crashed due to memory shortage. Timix Retroplays recommends working with a layer height of 0.12 mm, and I can confirm that the system works better the finer the layer height is. However, slicing then requires significantly more resources, and Prusa Slicer or my Mac seems to hit a limit here. Luckily, slicing worked with Orca Slicer, and I could finally start the printing of the baseplate with a record-breaking print time of 3 days, 12 hours and 56 minutes. At the same time, I got to work on slicing and printing the nearly 7,000 Thrixels, and that also took quite a bit of time. If you want to try Thrixelprint yourself, feel free to use the pre-sliced files on MakerWorld to at least speed up the preparation a bit. You will find the links on Thrixelprint.com and in the video description. When everything was finally printed, the final step of puzzling began, and I'll be honest with you, I massively underestimated the effort that would take. Still, I wanted to reach my goal, of course, and with the generated instructions, I worked my way through the complete image in 10 by 10 blocks. Pixel by pixel, I could see more and more of the result taking shape, and then it was finally time. I placed the last Thrixel and completed my project. The greater the effort, the sweeter the moment when you finally reach your goal. After days of work, it's just amazing to hold the result in your hands, and if you're also looking for the ultimate 3D printing puzzle challenge, then go to Thrixelprint.com now, create your own pixel puzzle and share your creations with the hashtag Thrixelprint, and most importantly, please give me your feedback on what I can improve. We have the chance here to build a really cool project, but that only works together and with your help. Now, thanks for watching and supporting my channel with a thumbs up or even a subscription, and if you haven't had enough 3D printing yet, then definitely check out this video right here.